Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second April hot seat. This is a live session, and Marisa is in the hot seat today. And I'm excited to chat with her. And Marisa, I'm going to have you go ahead and introduce yourself. And I want you to give some backstory on when you started blogging and lead us into where you are now. And then we'll roll right into what we're going to be strategizing about today.
Okay, awesome. So I am Marisa Mohi. I am a writer, a blogger, a YouTuber. I do a lot of freelance writing. I'm currently working on a novel. So I do kind of pretty much everything with writing. That's my joy. I currently work as an instructor at the University of Oklahoma, and I teach business communications. And I am trying to take my blog to the next level. For the past couple of years, I've been trying to get serious about writing and blogging. And I think that for me, it's just kind of a natural progression to be like one part novelist, one part freelance writer, and one part blogger, because I think all of those things just kind of go together. And I blog a lot about writing and work-life balance when you are balancing multiple projects or when you're trying to finish a big project with a day job and stuff like that. So those are the main things I focus on. And what I'm working toward is to someday quit the day job, just because that's what I want. And I have been blogging for a really long time, but in weird ways. So like if you remember Xanga.com back in the day, I totally had a Xanga. I've had several live journals and I hope they never see the light of day. Because I think the content you were expected to put out on live journal was just very like heart-wrenching, and I obviously wear black hoodies and too much eyeliner sort of stuff. And that is not who I am anymore. So I started thinking about blogging seriously, though, probably back in 2010, and I was writing for what is often referred to as an obscure local social blog. But if you were in the Oklahoma area, you know of the Lost Ogle. And I wrote for them for about 6 years, and they're probably like the biggest blog in the state. Next to the Pioneer Woman. Like, we can't get on that level. But so we wrote kind of satirical takes on political issues and stuff like that. But then in about 2013, I decided to start up my own blog, and it has kind of evolved a lot since then. I think for a while I was just using it as a sandbox, trying to figure out what I wanted to do and not really sure what I wanted to do with my life and, stuff like that. So I wrote stuff about like makeup and fashion, like the stuff you're supposed to blog about sort of feeling. And I definitely don't do that anymore. So maybe about I can't remember. It was at a Megaphone Summit, which we were just talking about, which is a big conference for the Megaphone community. If you haven't signed up yet, make sure you sign up. But I just kind of got this feeling like I could make this a lot bigger and better than it is. And so I started to take it seriously. I really defined the categories of things that I blogged about. I got really intense about my editorial calendar, so much so that I have my content planned out until August of this year, just because that's what I do. So I am trying currently, like my goal right now is to build a lot more site traffic, and I've been doing a lot for SEO, but I know the one thing my SEO game lacks is backlinks. So that's kind of what I want to focus on today, if that's cool.
Sure. So what do you want to focus on related to backlinks?
Yeah. So I am looking for opportunities to guest post, and I found a few that I think are going to work really well for my niche, but I wanted to ask if there's a particular strategy you should have when it comes to approaching guest posting. Like, I spoke at a very small conference back in February, and I said up to this point, my strategy for getting noticed online has been the equivalent of me basically running naked down Main Street with a megaphone yelling, "Look at me!" So I don't want to do that anymore. So, I mean, I feel like there comes a time when we start noticing people online and it feels like they're oversaturated and we're irritated by them and like, oh, could she just stop going live on Instagram? So I don't want people to look at me that way. So is there a good, amount of guest posts you should have? Is there too much? Or, you tell me.
I don't think there's too much, actually, because that is a signifier to Google that you're an authority. And if you are getting your links, your work on other people's websites, you're signaling to Google, I'm the real deal. And so I don't think that there's too much in the sense of where you're getting your backlinks. Now, if you become a contributor for a particular website and maybe you're contributing 4 times a year, 6 times a year, 10 times a year, that person could potentially put an HTML tag on you to kind of slow down that signal to Google. That doesn't happen often because a lot of people don't understand that kind of HTML strategy. So you're still going to get that traffic. But over time, if you continue to contribute to that site, you may want to say something to that person and have them put, I'll have to do the research on what exactly that tag needs to be, because you don't want Google thinking you're just trying to gain page rank.
Right.
And that unfortunately can get cut up in the crosshairs or caught up in the crosshairs because Google doesn't understand that relationship. They just see you out there posting on this person's website over and over. And if they don't understand that relationship for whatever reason, and we don't understand how the robots think, sometimes it can flag you and then get you caught up into Google jail. And so if you're going to contribute multiple times over and over to a website and you have your own website, then we might want to consider letting me do some research to find out what that HTML code that you need to attach yourself. Because I have heard, and this is kind of like just as a tangent, I have heard there's a blogger in the Facebook group who found a blogger in a link party and then talked about that blogger's post in her own post, not knowing that that blogger's post was sponsored. And Google put her in Google jail, our blogger, because they thought she was trying to pass that blogger page rank. Because that blogger's post was sponsored, and she didn't know it was sponsored. She just saw the article, thought it was cool to link to. And yeah, so Google jail can happen at any time. And sometimes there's no really reason that the robots just get the wrong message. But it took her a long time to get that fixed because she didn't know where it came from or why it happened. And they don't give you a whole lot of instruction about that. That was a complete different tangent. In the long term, getting your links out on other people's websites is really good because that is, again, that signifier out to Google that you are trying to gain authority or you are being the authority in the topics that you're submitting out there. So I don't think that there is any reason why you can't come up with a list of, let's say every month you come up with a list of 10 people that you're going to pitch. And you email those 10 people, and let's say 30% are saying yes. So then you have 3.33 people allowing you to post an article on their website. And so at the end of the year, you have 38-ish new links, backlinks to your own website. That is a great, strong signifier to Google that you are an authority. Plus, your work is now on 38 blogs and is in front of that community's eyeballs. So there's, to me, and I've never seen anybody ever say you can have too many backlinks. No, you can't. It just gets a little weird when you're a contributor and there's not that little HTML. So if you're contributing over and over and over to the same same blog. But yeah, no, not too many backlinks ever.
Cool. So let me ask you this. There is a big name blog teacher on the interwebs talking about how you should be reposting content on Medium and LinkedIn. And so like you repost the same post and then at the bottom, like this originally appeared at, whatever your blog URL is. And while it sounds really good, like I always thought you didn't want to have like your content doubled up because doesn't Granddaddy Google hate that? Like,
yeah, manual action for duplicate content. I mean, that just tells them that you're just trying to scam their system. I have seen people do that, and I don't know. I mean, I do see. I know I'm not seeing people teach that, but I'm seeing people do that. So somebody's teaching it. So I I couldn't be like, oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. I understand the thought process to that, but like if you are, it's kind of like, and I do this too, and shame on me for doing this, but like if I'm on Instagram, I'm going to push it to Facebook because Facebook does nothing for me. So
Right.
it's just easy for me to share that Instagram post over to my Facebook page because I don't care about Facebook. Nobody's coming to find me via Facebook. So the page itself. So that's very similar, and it's bad. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be creating the content, thinking about how my blue person is using Facebook and how they're going to respond to the content. So it shouldn't be the same. And so like if you have an idea and you've written it in blog post form, what are things that you can add to that to then take to Medium and flesh out there and then say and read more at this article. And that way you're getting what Medium's audience is actually looking for, plus potential traffic back to your blog to read the original article. Mm-hmm. Which I think is actually, because now then you can take that Medium article link and incorporate it over into your blog. And now you've got some backlink connections to where you're also contributing, but it's not the same duplicate content. I think if you're putting duplicate content out on other websites just to showcase that in front of that audience, I think that's a disservice to you as the person trying to grow into the thing that you're wanting to become. So if you are out on LinkedIn or you're out on Medium, write something different, but that still parallels itself with your original article that you put on your blog. Because at the end of the day, you don't own Medium, you don't own LinkedIn, but you want your badass content sitting on your website and this mm-hmm. parallel stuff getting people to it.
That's a really good point. Like, I didn't think about it that way. And like, I literally have a plan like, oh yeah, let's start publishing stuff on Medium. And then I was like, wait a minute, doesn't that... So another question I have is this is totally putting you on the spot. So is there a blogger out there who you think is doing it right with guest posting, or are there some guest posting opportunities that you think maybe bloggers aren't taking advantage of? And well, no, I'll save that for the next question. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like at this moment in time that I'm a little removed from the blogging space in the sense of paying attention to what bloggers I think are doing it right in the guest posting space. I think the trends that I've seen is they're jumping ship from their blogs and are trying to just microblog out on the social media platforms, which I think if you're putting all of your eggs over into that, you're going to have, like, I'm seeing more desperation posts out on social media because people aren't seeing the stuff anymore. And it's like, but why did you do that? Like, it should never have become this thing where you're putting all of your eggs into that. And so that's really what I've been seeing. So I have seen people jump ship from the blogging space and not actively trying to grow the thing they have full control over, which I think is a disservice to everyone trying to microblog elsewhere. Like, it's cool to microblog elsewhere, but your bubble has to be your email list and your blog, because those things you have full control over. You don't have control over how because Instagram works or Facebook works or LinkedIn works or Medium works. Like, we are not their end user. We are gaming their systems. Every time something new changes, there's people out there trying to game it again to break over that hurdle to get the people back to them. And the desperation posts drive me batty. Like, seeing them in Instagram stories, like, no one is seeing my post. Please go leave emojis on the last 5 posts and I'll give you blah, blah, blah as a gift. Like, that drives me insane. Like, the people that truly want to pay attention to you will stay and still pay attention to you. Like, but why did you? Anyways, that's a tangent. So long story short, I am not seeing anyone actively do awesome at guest posting elsewhere. Because I think most people have jumped ship from blogging. And do I think there will be a return? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the just hearing about what Facebook is going to attempt to do, people need to get back into their blogs. They need to be back into their content strategy. And the people that never jumped ship are going to have a leg up over everyone because they continued creating content. They continued putting out links. They continued sharing their content out on social media. And it still takes 8 to 12 months for things to take effect, unless you're just have one of those fly by night things that gets picked up on Medium that people are like going bonkers over. Like, let's say you do a top 10 list and over on Medium, and then that leads over to this massive, essay over whatever that top 10 list was about. But that top 10 list went viral, which sent people over to your website. You see where I'm going with that? I think that people that have stayed true to their websites and continued to work and provide amazing content for their ideal reader, and who are still actively trying to get out on podcasts, out on YouTube, out on other blogs, trying to get themselves with links, getting more backlinks to them, are going to have so much more traction when crap hits the fan again. And it's going to always do that. Because we don't have control over that. And it's now a pay to play thing. And like, man, just go back and focus down on, what your niche is and why you're doing these things, and getting in front of audiences that are very similar to your own audience, and providing real value out there. And I think that's the other thing. People are scared to write or guest post and give away the goods, but you have to. You have to. If you're wanting to attract your person, you can't be scared to give it away, because what you've got on your own website is gold, and you're just sharing nuggets of gold every time you go out and you guest post. But you should be giving it all in those guest posts just as much as you're giving it on your own website. And people are really scared about that. They don't want to give away their ideas to somebody else. Make sure you have contracts, because I have seen some horror stories recently where bloggers are going back to those guest posts and stripping out the author and turning it into their own work. And I don't want to see that happen to anyone. So make sure that when you do get in a guest post relationship with another blogger or website owner or fill in the blank, that you have a contract in place, that nothing gets stripped in the future. These are, if they allow you to use your own affiliate links, make sure those stay your own affiliate links. Make sure that you maintain author credit. Make sure that you maintain those link backs. Because I've seen people are stripping out hard work by amazing writers and claiming it as their own, which sucks.
Yeah.
Did that answer that question?
It did.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So on that note, I know when it comes to guest posting, you probably want to get your posts on sites that are a little bit bigger than yours, for sure. And I mean, like, there's no way that Google's ever going to make my site their homepage, but if they did, that'd be awesome. But like, how much bigger, and is there a point where it starts to look spammy to Google if you have like overshot, what your rank is? So like, let's say that I have no guest posts, and then suddenly I'm on like the front page of Huffington Post with this opinion piece that goes viral. Like, does Google get confused and think, whoa?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think they get confused at all, because it comes down to the website owner making the choice on whether or not to actually publish your work. And I don't think you always have to have the mindset that they have to be bigger than you. There is value in blogging people that are in your size, and there's value in people that are just starting out. Because let's say they have, and I was listening to a podcast episode yesterday. Somebody was interviewing this girl who has 2,500 Instagram followers, but her followers are super engaged. And she's managed to be able to have some amazing brand collaborations, because even though she has a small number, her engagement rate is through the roof. And you can't replicate that for the most part on huge Instagram accounts. For the most part, huge Instagram accounts got there because they did loop giveaways. They gave away things all the time. Like, they essentially bought their followers to get to that number. But if you look on average at the likes compared to the follower count, their engagement rates are like less than 1%. But if you have like the 2,500 and you have a 50% engagement rate, like, whoa, so don't discount that people at your level or people that might be a little newer than you don't have established audiences or don't have engaged audiences, because a link back to you is a link back to you at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Do you want to shoot for somebody bigger? Absolutely, because that's potentially more eyeballs on your content that's going to come and trickle back down to you. But do you have to have that mentality the entire time you're out pitching for guest posts? No.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. So one thing I also want to ask you about is other potential backlink options, because like in the golden days of blogging, before all the marketers started saying blogging is dead, you would always have like a blog roll and, like you'd link to all your friends. And I actually have a friend who was blogging in like 2008, 2009. And she was here in Oklahoma, and she and the Pioneer Woman would email back and forth, and she was on the Pioneer Woman's blog roll for the longest time. And even though the Pioneer Woman no longer has a blog roll, and this friend has not touched that blog since 2010, it still gets about 1,000 page views a day because of that backlink. So it's crazy. Yeah. So are there other potential backlink options that maybe I should be creating with like-minded bloggers, or because I feel like the blog roll, like that's not a thing we do anymore. And I wonder if Google would disparage it as kind of, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I don't think that they would, because I think that's considered, if it's sitting in a sidebar, it's different when it's coming up in a post, or a page is more of a solid thing, just like your sidebar is. So that's more of an advertisement. Mm-hmm. I think because of the way the algorithms have adjusted themselves, you would have to follow that, because that's the number one thing to Google. Like in link parties, for example, that is still a very relevant way for you to potentially get a backlink if that link party host features you on their website without you really having to do a lot of work except showing up each week and dropping your link into their party. So you get the link into their party, which is not going to be traffic in the sense of just an actual blog link in a blog post, because it's a widget, and I'm not 100% certain how the widget is operating with your link sitting in there. I don't know if that's signaling out to Google somehow. But like, let's say you show up, you have 5 blog parties, link parties that you actively put your posts in every single week. It's a way for you to advertise yourself without a whole lot of work. It's the same post going into those 5 every week, and then you write a new post, and those 5 parties come back around, and you're putting them into putting that post in. So it's another way for you to advertise. When because I offer that kind of a service for bloggers, I go and drop your links into 80 plus parties every single week, because I'm trying to get more eyeballs on your content on your behalf. But my blog roll for those link parties, because all of these hosts want me to have a backlink to their party. But that's telling Google something that I don't want them to know. Like, I'm not trying to pass all these 100 parties page rank. Like, that would get me in big time trouble. So you could still do a blog roll, but you're going to need to follow all of those links so that you're not saying, hey, Google, I'm biased here, because that's now what that is. Before, when you had a blog roll, there was no bias. Google didn't calculate things that way, but now they do. And so you can have that blog roll, but you're going to have to follow every one of those people, because even though these are your friends, Google could look at it as trying to pass PageRank. Even though PageRank doesn't really exist, it still exists in the algorithm. So link parties is a great place for another way for you to get your content out there. You can still do a blog roll. You can still do, support your people. But if you're supporting the same people over and over and over, then it is a signal to Google that you guys might have a scheme going on. Even though you don't intentionally have a scheme, you're just trying to help each other out. The robots don't see it that way.
Right. Stupid robots.
I know. It's just like, like you trying so hard to overcome all of these algorithms just to, like, you can't organically be nice anymore. You have to follow the people that you truly want to support. Like if you did a Friday feature, for example, and each one of you decided, let's say there's 10 of you, and each one of you decided every Friday we're going to do a Friday feature, and we're going to talk about what we liked about what our friends were up to this past week. Those links have to be no follow because it's something you do in a series that happens every single Friday. If you only did it as a one-off thing, great. You don't have to no follow any of those links. But if it's something that you're doing week in and week out, yeah, you have to no follow them.
Okay, so I think you just answered this, but one of the things that I want to do on my blog on the sidebar is put links to my friends' stuff that they're working on, because I have a lot of friends doing some really good stuff. So I would have to, in effect, no follow those, right?
Yes. Yep. If it's straight to one of their articles, like if that is what is changing, you might be able to get away without a no follow. But at the end of the day, just to protect yourself, I would stick that in there because there is bias. And Google doesn't care what kind of bias it is. If it's you going into Target and talking about a mascara that you found in a blog post, you don't have to no follow that. But if you're talking about Target over and over and over in hopes that Target recognizes you, there becomes bias. So if you're constantly talking about your friends in your roll call about what they're doing, I would just no follow those links just in case.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's like, oh, we can't do anything to promote our people, to support our tribe. Now, you can do that on social media. Absolutely. You're never going to get in trouble for that. So you could do a Friday feature, a roll call out on your social media and do it that way. But if you're going to put it permanently on your website, I would no follow the links.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can do that.
Anything else?
We have 3 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is just kind of a general question.
Okay.
So my blog right now just looks like generic blog with posts on the front page. And I actually have plans to do like a home page that links to different categories and stuff. I'm just waiting for like the photo shoot to happen because there hasn't been any sunshine and it's been canceled like 4 times. So is that good, bad? Does Google care?
Okay, what I would do before you make that kind of a change for a homepage is look at your traffic, go into Google Analytics and look at how many people are actually landing on your homepage. Mm-hmm. If more than 40, 50% are landing there first, then it might be wise to test it out for 3 months, 6 months and see what happens. If that traffic falls off, that's a signaler to you that they're there to see your latest post. And you either need to get them into your newsletter list to let them know when your latest post is now out so they can come directly to that instead of landing on your homepage. Because here's the thing, you'll want to look at your analytics for not only the homepage change percentage, but also how long are they now staying on your homepage and what are they clicking to? And then where are they exiting? So you'll be able, I would say, test it, give yourself 3 months, 6 months period, look in your analytics and see what exactly is signaling to you on whether or not that homepage is working. Because I see a lot of bloggers go out and do these amazing homepages and give you those categories and all their people want is their latest post. Mm-hmm. And so they kill that because it's no longer user friendly in the sense of what it used to be. They could go to your website and boom, there's your latest post. And you can truncate it so that you're only showing snippets. You're not giving your full post. So they do have to click over and read the rest of the post. You can do that as another option. But yeah, I would make the change, see how it's received, and you can see that via your analytics.
Okay, cool. I didn't even think of that.
Anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
Yay. Thank you, Marisa. That was so fun.
Yeah, I'm really glad we did this.
Yes. You guys can go see Marisa's blog over at marisamohi.com. And I will link to her Facebook page once I get this video into the group and edit it so you guys can go interact with her. And I think we have another one of these hot seats coming up next week. And remember, May 6th, Monday, May 6th is when the form will open back up, and there will be 4 hot seats available in May. And then it'll be you sitting in the hot seat getting to talk about your blog or your business. And yeah, it's fun.
It is. Do it. It's not scary.
Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.